Hi, this is Miss Katie. I'm the children's coordinator here at the Pittston Memorial Library. I'm here to read you the first 5 chapters in our newest Chicka Chicka chapter book story. So this is for anyone who wants to join in from home and anyone who maybe has to miss a week so that you can catch back up and then come join us again. Each week we read just a little chunk of a book together to complete a book each month. And then we get to do an art project based on the stories we read. So the story I'm reading today is the first 5 chapters out of Lulu and the Brontosaurus. The author of this book is Judith Viorst. Could be pronouncing that wrong, but I believe that's the right way. The author is the person who wrote this book. So they wrote the story. Now the illustrator is the person who has drawn all the pictures in this book. Her name is Lane Smith. Lulu and the Brontosaurus. Okay, all right. You have to tell me. You don't have to tell me. I know. I know that people and dinosaurs have never lived on Earth at the same time. And I know that dinosaurs aren't living now. I even also know that paleontologists, folks who study dinosaurs, decided that a dinosaur that was once called a Brontosaurus, a very nice name, shouldn't be called Brontosaurus anymore, and changed it to a Patasaurus, kind of an ugly name. But since I'm the person writing this story, I get to choose what I write. And I'm writing about a girl and a Brontosaurus. So if you don't want to read this book, you can close it up right now. You won't hurt my feelings. And if you still want to read it, then here goes. Chapter 1. There once was a girl named Lulu, and she was a pain. She wasn't a pain in the elbow. She wasn't a pain in the knee. She wasn't a pain. She was a pain. A very big pain in the butt. Here's Lulu. Now, Lulu was an only child, and her mom and her dad gave her everything she wanted. And guess what? Lulu wanted everything. Tons of candy, tons of toys, tons of watching, tons of cartoons on TV. And if her mom and her dad ever said, and they hardly ever said it, "Sorry, darling, we think you've had enough," Lulu would screech till the light bulbs burst and throw herself down on the floor, and then she would kick her heels and wave her arms. And pretty soon her mom and her dad would say, "Well, just this once," and let her have whatever it was she wanted. We have a word for what that's called. It's called spoiled. This is chapter 2. 2 weeks before Lulu's birthday, she announced to her mom and her dad that she wanted a Brontosaurus for her birthday present. What did she say? What? A Brontosaurus? Yes, she wanted a Brontosaurus for a pet. At first, Lulu's mom and her dad just thought she was making a joke. And then they saw, oh, the horrors, that she was serious. They patiently explained that a Brontosaurus is a quite enormous dinosaur who lives in forests, not in people's houses. Is that where a Brontosaurus would live? In a forest? I'm afraid I'm not absolutely sure. But since I'm the person writing this story, I'm putting this Brontosaurus in a forest, along with a lot of other wild beasts that I'm absolutely sure did not live on Earth when dinosaurs were there. Anyway, Lulu's mom and her dad continued explaining to her, although a Brontosaurus is into eating plants and not animals, including human animals like Lulu. And although it is cute, in a long-necked pinhead kind of way, it is much too huge and too wild to be a good pet. a dog, a cat, a goldfish, a bird, a gerbil, a guinea pig. Yes. But a Brontosaurus? Definitely no. I'm going to move the book closer so you can see the pictures a little better. Okay, next page. Chapter 3. No? Her mom and her dad were telling Lulu no? Lulu wasn't used to hearing no, and she really hated hearing no. To show how much she hated it, she screeched and screeched and screeched till all the light bulbs in the living room burst. I want a Brontosaurus for my birthday present, she said in between screeches. I want a Brontosaurus for a pet. Well, maybe we could get you a nice pet rabbit, said her mom. Or even, said her dad, a nice pet rat. No, 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 screeched Lulu. I want a Brontosaurus for a pet. Then she threw herself down on the floor and kicked her heels and waved her arms and screeched some more. Look at Lulu's poor parents. Yikes. Chapter 4. 4 days, 8 days, 10 days, 12 days passed. Lulu kept saying, I want a Brontosaurus. Her mom and her dad just kept on saying no. Lulu kept screeching and throwing herself on the floor and kicking her heels and waving her arms. Has throwing a fit ever worked for you with your parents? I don't know. And what about this? Dinosaurs don't exist. How are they going to make it happen? Let's see. Lulu's mom and her dad kept saying no. Until finally, on the 13th day, the day before Lulu's birthday, right after lunchtime, Lulu said to her mom and her dad, okay then, foo on you. She had terrible manners. If you aren't going to get me a Brontosaurus, I'm going out and getting one for myself. How do you think she's going to do that? Lulu packed a small suitcase, said goodbye to her mom and her dad, and walked out the door. And they let her go. Partly because they thought she'd change her mind and come running back home in about 2 minutes, and partly because it was kind of nice to not have her screeching and kicking and waving and being a pain in the you-know-what. Let's have a cup of tea and a couple of cookies, Lulu's mom said to her dad. Excellent idea, her dad replied. So they went into the kitchen and started munching on some cookies and sipping tea. And pretty soon, they'd forgotten all about Lulu. Uh-oh. Chapter 5. But Lulu had not forgotten that she was going to get herself a Brontosaurus. And luckily for Lulu, there was a great big forest not too far from her house. The animals in that forest had never bothered anybody because nobody had ever bothered them. But watch out, creatures. Here came Lulu trudging through the forest, swinging her small suitcase back and forth, and in quite a loud voice that was sure to wake the napping animals from their naps, singing this song. I'm gonna get a Brontosaurus for a pet. I'm gonna get a Brontosaurus for a pet. The forest that Lulu was trudging through was overgrown with trees whose branches scratched her face and whose roots she tripped over. But Lulu hardly noticed because she was thinking just one thought. And you know what that was? It's about a Brontosaurus. So on she went, swinging her suitcase and singing her song too loud and annoying all the creatures in the forest and being the same big pain out there that she was back home in her house until, who do we see? So here's Lulu walking along. Here's some nice little birdies, birds, and yikes. That looks pretty scary. What do you think it is? A snake. Slithering down from the branch of a tree came a long, fat, brown-black snake who had been peacefully snoozing until Lulu woke him up. Sleepy and grumpy and hissing an exceedingly nasty hiss. Can you hiss really nasty? Hiss. He wrapped himself around Lulu, around and tighter, and told her she'd really be sorry that she had awoken him. I'm going to squeeze you dead, he said. Okay, so snakes don't talk, but in my story, they do. And Lulu said, not if I squeeze you deader. So Lulu squeezed the snake hard, and the snake yelled, ow, and quickly unwrapped himself from Lulu. See her here squeezing the snake. Oh! And Lulu, wiping some snake sweat from the palms of her snake-squeezing hands, went on, trudging deeper into the forest. So, that is the end of our chapters for this week. This is chapter 6. This is chapter 6. We'll start there next week. So today, we learned Lulu wants a Brontosaurus for her birthday, and she will not take no for an answer. So she is going to go find the Brontosaurus for herself. So she's off into the woods. She met a snake and defeated him. And now she's off again, looking for the next thing that's going to come her way. So this week for a craft, if you would like to do your craft at home, the project that we are going to do is creating, I want you to think about a birthday present. If you could have anything for a birthday present that would be a pet for you, what would you get? So you could do a dinosaur too. Maybe it's a wild animal. I know some kids who would be really excited about a cheetah or a jaguar. But you can choose whatever it is that you want. And if you make your creation at home, feel free to bring it into the library to show me or post it on the comments of this video. We would love to see all your artwork. So thanks for joining us for this week. Next week, Chicka Chicka chapter books in person in the library is on Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. And next week, look, if you have to miss next week or if you'd like to continue joining in from home, look for our next video that'll post either Wednesday night or Thursday morning of next week. Thanks for joining.